Hey guys, in this video I'm going to share with you what I'm calling true minimalism and how to create it, how to create that peace, that simplicity that you really want. And I'm going to distinguish that from the minimalism that we see most often talked about. Before I dive into that, if you like what you're hearing, click the subscribe button. I have lots more insights coming soon about minimalism. Plus, I've got hundreds of videos in the archive that you can check out. I call them Creating Insights. Anyway, let's get down to it. Oh, and at the end of this video, I'm going to share a minimalist way to access more of the insights that I share as well. So if you like what you're hearing, stick around to the end. See, I posted a video about minimalism like, I don't know, a week or two ago, and it got way more views than most of the videos that I put out. So I'm like, what's going on here? So I did a YouTube search of the word minimalism, and I saw a lot of videos by 20-somethings, people in their 20s, guys and girls, in very empty apartments talking about their life and how much better their life is now that they've gotten rid of stuff. Also talking about this kind of zeitgeist of just not really being a consumer and not having so much stuff. I can really appreciate both of those things. First, because I spent 3 years in my 20s living nomadically out of a backpack, living a very minimalist life. I remember getting stopped at the border because I didn't have any luggage at all, and they were just like, why are you traveling into a different country and you don't even have a backpack? I was just living out of my pockets at that point. And so I get it. I get this, the power in that simplicity. And I also really get how a world, look at the motherfucking beach, right? There's trash cans like every 35 feet all across the beach in Santa Monica. There's just so much stuff and garbage. And so I get the value for society as a whole to minimize those things. And I think that when people are interested in minimalism, as far as an individual person that's interested in minimalism, most of the time it's for the implied or maybe even explicit promise of what that will do for their experience of being alive, which is to have more stillness in their life, to have more peace, to have more calmness. And I have found that those external things, like having less stuff, yes, it can contribute to that. But it's not a guarantee. I mean, everybody knows the example of, like, maybe you even experienced it, like the yoga teacher who's completely frantic, like the spiritual person who's not very spiritual, right? The person who talks about groundedness, but they're not grounded. I know a guy who's supposedly an expert on listening, and he's the worst fucking listener I've ever met. And so there's the idea of the thing, there's the externality of the thing, then there's the actuality, the essence of the thing, the embodied experience of the thing. And I know a guy, a friend of mine named John, who, my name's John too, but another John, lots of Johns out there, and he's a multi-millionaire, beautiful, big, beautiful home, multiple homes. I went to his house, and he's got lots of expensive, beautiful cars, and lots of stuff, a wine cellar, he's got stuff, right? He's got money, and he's used it to buy stuff. And the experience of John is he's a minimalist. Not because he doesn't have stuff, but because there's nothing in his house, nothing in his garage, where if it was lost, it would even matter to him. I mean, he threw me the keys to his very expensive brand new car and said, take it for a drive. Like, well, he just doesn't care. And so his mind is quiet and empty. He lives as an expression of simplicity and minimalism in a state of being, despite having a lot of stuff. And I'm not talking like stuff to the point where it's excessive, but my point is it's like the absence of stuff doesn't create the embodied experience of minimalism. It can contribute to it, but it's not actually the thing that will create it. And so what will? That was my promise at the beginning of this video. What will actually create what I'm calling true minimalism, the experience of minimalism? Well, it's non-attachment to things, right? How do you be non-attached to things? You can get rid of them in the outside world, but that doesn't even guarantee you'll break the attachment. You might still have a longing for it and not even have it in your space. Or you might take that longing or attachment to that thing and apply it to something else. And so it just gets expressed in a different way. And you can fool yourself into thinking you're creating a minimalist state of being by having an empty living room. But your mind is still cluttered. And so true minimalism in my world, in my experience, my reality, is when your mind is quiet and you don't have attachment to anything, literally anything. If my house burned down right now, as long as my wife and kids got out and everything was gone, I wouldn't care. I've said this in the other video about minimalism. I wouldn't care. It's okay. There's nothing in this world that's physical. This is my journal. It's special to me. And if I lost it, it's okay. Holding my iPhone, whatever, 11, 12, I don't know what it is. If I lost it, it's okay. I've gotten robbed before. The stuff was gone and it doesn't matter. That's minimalism. And so what's the distinction here? It's not about what's happening on the outside. It's about my relationship to the stuff on the outside. And as I cultivate a relationship in my mind and in my heart where nothing that's outside matters as to whether it is or isn't in my space or my existence, I've cultivated a minimalist mind and a minimalist heart. And it just so happens that when I let go on the inside, stuff does tend to fall away on the outside. In the next video, I'll be sharing 4 tough challenges to cultivate and create true minimalism. And one of them I'll be talking about is not wearing shoes. So I don't wear shoes pretty much ever. I mean, I'm at the beach, nobody really wears shoes, but I don't wear shoes ever. I go to stores, I go to restaurants, I go for 5-mile runs on pavement. I just don't wear shoes. And I don't even have that many shoes. When it comes time to do something where shoes are required, it's like I often run into a problem. I do have a couple pairs, but they're not easily accessible. They're tucked away. I don't use them that often. And so that's not because I decided I'm going to be a minimalist and not have shoes. I'll share more about why that is, the details of it, in the next video, but what I want to point out here is that I let go of the idea that I needed shoes in my heart. And I still had them, and slowly over time, shoes being part of my life just fell away. Shoes just fell away. And so stuff falls out of my life. There's lots of things that I don't have, material things, but I haven't gotten rid of them as a way to try to create quietness in my mind. I'm interested in what are the things that I think I need. How can I let go of that in my heart? And then maybe it will stay in my living room, or maybe it will go, right? So in my next video, I'll share 4 tough challenges that will have you really lean into cultivating true minimalism. And if you want to receive insights like this in a very minimalist, condensed form, then click the link and grab my emails, Creating Insights by Email. I bite-size and summarize these videos. These are like 5 to 10 minute videos. Boom, really short emails that come out a couple times a week. Other than that, subscribe, like, share with your friends, hit me up with a DM. I love you. See you later.